One of the most underrated options for top high school recruits after school is easily the G League Pro Pathway program. Tell me, how often do you see ESPN or Fox Sports or even popular social media platforms talk about Team Ignite? And if we're being real, you yourself probably don't even check up on them. By the way, if you did not know, Team Ignite is the G League team headlined by Jalen that features several top high school prospects and pays them pretty generously. But yeah, as if receiving little media attention was not enough, Team Ignite might have a more serious issue on their hands that could be pretty detrimental to the future of the program and the draft stock of their players. And I say that because right now their season is set to begin on February 8th, which I'm pretty hyped for. I mean, I've been on a G League hype train. However, if you keep up with the actual league, which is the NBA, even a little bit, then you already know many games in the past 2 weeks have been postponed due to COVID scares. And you may wonder what this has to do with the G League, especially since the Team Ignite games will be played in a whole bubble. Well, in today's video, I will answer that question along with why this would hurt the stock of these fresh out of high school G League hoopers, although I hope none of that happens. But before I go further, what's good YouTube? Plug Speaks back with a vid. If you are new, first of all, welcome to the channel and subscribe. If you are ready for the games to go ahead and get started, see Jalen out there on the court, like this up and turn on notice. I upload 3 to 4 times a week. And right now we are grinding for 5K before March, so I'd for sure appreciate it. But back to the vid though. So Team Ignite's actual season is set to begin February 8th in the G League bubble in Orlando, and the bubble features 18 G League teams, including them of course, and in that bubble they will play around 20 regular season games to just showcase their abilities against other professional athletes, most of which are older than them, which sounds great for development. And thus far they've even played 2 scrimmages where some guys showed out, such as Jalen and Jonathan Kuminga, who both averaged over 20 in these 2 scrimmages. So yeah, everything I've said so far sounds great. I mean, they've had some scrimmages, plenty of time to practice prior to the real season, and are about to begin a real play in the bubble. But see, this is where things could go wrong because, like I said in the intro, in the NBA, many games have been postponed due to contact tracing with COVID, which is basically where everyone who's been in the presence of just one player or a staff member or whoever that is tested positive for COVID is now subjected to a chance of having the virus and must self-isolate for 14 days. And you could say, well, the games are just postponed, not canceled. The games are going to be played eventually. And well, you would actually be right in saying that, but that's the NBA, the main priority. I mean, there's a reason the league returned right before Christmas and was so intent on continuing play. The amount of revenue lost last year just by pausing the season was a lot, and they would lose a ridiculous amount to really cancel it. I mean, there's no way. However, on the other hand, the G League is not at all their priority. And before I explain what would happen if just one or a couple people in the G League bubble caught COVID, let me remind everyone of something they probably did not even notice the first time. So last year when the league suspended the season, they of course also suspended the G League season, but as we all know, the NBA eventually returned to play in the bubble for playoff teams and teams with playoff chances. However, the G League season never returned to play. And why? Well, that's a question I think we all know. Fans don't really care, and the NBA is not their priority. It's not a huge moneymaker for them. I mean, they probably make more money off of League Pass, and we all know nobody actually pays for League Pass. So yeah, all their attention was on creating a safe environment for the NBA season. And so now that I've explained that, what do you think would happen if COVID stays the same in the NBA, which means the games are getting postponed every now and then, but then a small cluster breaks into the G League bubble due to the constant travel of the virus and the very hard to track contact tracing? Well, I'm not sure what y'all think, but I definitely believe the NBA would just abort mission on the G League season and prioritize the NBA just as they did in the past. By the way, the G League bubble is in Disney World in Orlando, the same place the NBA bubble was last year, and it's the same place the NBA is bound to return to if cases get any worse. And so that's just further reason to believe the G League season would not last if cases broke into their bubble even a little bit. And like I said, that's something I hope does not happen at all. If anything, I hope this video ages terribly, but it would be unrealistic to pretend it's not a real possibility. But anyway, there's more to it because I just went over a situation where the G League season could be canceled, but I haven't even discussed why this would be so unfortunate for Team Ignite and the draft stock of these high school prospects. And well, to put it simply, it would be pretty bad for many reasons. For one, As we all know, college basketball has been started, and even in the NCAA, some games have been postponed due to COVID scares, but many of them have been played, and there are a ton of 2021 draft prospects that are balling out and improving their stock. There's guys like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, and Evan Mobley that are playing up to their standards and answering many of the questions scouts may have had about their abilities through the games being played. But on top of that, there are some players significantly boosting their draft stock after having lower expectations, such as James Bouknight, Corey Kispert, and even Cameron Thomas. But Team Ignite, on the other hand, has yet to even begin the season and play even one game. I mean, although they have played 2 scrimmages with Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga both playing well, it is not compared to the 5 to 10 real games many draft prospects have played so far. And so any questions scouts have about these guys have yet to be answered. And if there's one thing NBA scouts don't need any more of, it's doubt or questions, because it's already hard enough for them to take chances on players and try to predict how good they will be years down the line. So yeah, it's just not a good look for Team Ignite, and that's a major reason why the postponement or cancellation of play would be so bad for them. But before I move on to another reason, let me say that I do believe Jalen would go top 5 regardless, and that Kuminga would go top 10 as well, but it is not just about them, and I cannot confidently say that the other players would go as highly as they were projected to go when coming out of high school, after so many guys are balling out in the NCAA right now. I mean, the 2021 draft class is stacked. But on to the second reason. Now, I may have said the G League Pro Pathway program is not receiving that much media attention, which is true, but don't let that make you assume that top high school recruits in lower classes are not keeping an eye on them to see how things pan out. In this first year with Team Ignite, there are 2 outcomes and little in between. See, the first outcome, and the one I hope happens, is that things go well, the season is played with little to no interruption, and all the Team Ignite guys get drafted after a season where they got trained by pros, played against pros, and even got paid like pros. And under an outcome like this, the NCAA would not last too much longer, or at least they wouldn't last when it comes to getting the best of the best to actually choose college over going pro, because the classes to come that feature guys like Chet, Amani, DJ Wagner, and more will have seen how successful the G League Pro Pathway was, and they'll choose it over going to school again. However, on the other hand, in the less fortunate outcome, due to factors the G League can't really control, such as COVID, the season would not be played and the draft stock of these guys would be halted, as they would have little opportunity to improve it. And as the saying goes, staying the same while others get better is basically the same thing as getting worse. So yeah, in a situation like this where the first year does not go as well as many people would have hoped, man, the NCAA would not fall off anytime soon at all, and it would not go anywhere, as the guys in lower classes would just lose faith in the G League for obvious reasons. And even though it wouldn't really be Team Ignite's fault, it would be at the fault of COVID, I'm sure many guys would not care. They would not care, because at the end of the day, results are king, and they're just trying to put themselves in the best position to become NBA players. So the Pro Pathway program would just become an even less popular option, but hopefully that does not happen, and I'm actually fixing to wrap this video up. But before I do, let me yet again say that I hope none of the second outcome possibilities really happen. And honestly, if I'm being optimistic, at least the G League season is going to be in a bubble, so the chances of a small cluster even popping up is pretty unlikely. And from February 8th and on, we should see Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Kai Soto, Deshaun Nix, Isaiah Todd, and Principal Singh going crazy in the G League against grown men, just boosting their draft stock. But yeah, that's going to do it for me in this video. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to like this up, share it, sub if you knew, all of that. Let me know how you feel about Team Ignite and their situation, and really if you even care about them, if you're even checking up on them. But that's it for me, and I'm